Hey folks, it's time for TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 55. This is TWiP. Hey, welcome back to the TWiP Pro Photo Critique. It is time to step through some of the cool images that have been submitted to the photo critique area within the TWiP Pro community. I'm here with my good friend, partner in crime here, Mr. Troy Miller, to hopefully dispense some constructive criticism about the images that have put in there. Some nitpick. Yeah, we'll call it constructive nitpicking, you know. Lots of images. I think we got like 20, 21 or something to go through.
We do. Yeah, we have a solid 20 every time. That's great. That's
yeah, but even good. Less than that, because some of the images, even though we're going to go through all the images today, because I'm kind of giving a grace period on this topical thing. A lot of the images that have been submitted to the TWiP Pro members do not adhere to the leading line topic of this show. But in your defense, I sent out a message earlier this weekend that was reminding people to put their images in, and I didn't remind them that it was leading line. So going forward, I will make sure that when I send out the reminders that you're reminded as to what the topic is. But just know, you know, the funnel is getting tighter at the end in terms of strictness in these critiques. We got to drive people to submit cool topical images.
That's right. Well, because we have an end game, though. We have a goal. We have an end game with the themes leading to a bigger event somewhere down the line.
That's right.
Yeah, we're not going to reveal too much now. We're just in the testing phase
because we haven't made it up yet. But yeah. Did I say that out loud? That was my inner voice. I know
this is what would be pre-beta?
Yeah, alpha.
Alpha.
Oh man, well, cool. Let's dive in. You ready to go?
I am. Yeah, I'm ready to do it.
All right, here we go. Let's take a look here. Oh, before we dive in, what's this? This was it's February 18th now, so which means we just passed Valentine's Day. Troy Miller, what did you do? What did Troy Miller do for the ladies in your life over there?
I did the same thing that I've been doing for 32 years. Is I bought them flowers.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Very cool.
Yep.
Hey,
Margie
you know,
gets 3 flowers.
What is it?
I said Margie gets 3 roses, and Kira gets 1.
Wow. Cheap. You got to go a dozen or go home, man. Come on.
Tradition. Yeah.
Really? Oh, well, I say cheap, but you know what I discovered this year? So buying roses, of course, is expensive, so I did that. But I'm somewhat ashamed and somewhat what's the word? Proud to reveal that I discovered the dollar store. And that you can buy helium balloons for $1 in the dollar store. I mean, so I went and I bought.
You're calling me cheap?
I bought how many? I bought 6 balloons, so $6, 6 pink or 3 pink and 3 red ones to go with the roses. You know, it was perfect. I'm a hero for $6. You know, those would have been like $12 each in a regular flower store.
And did you do that on Valentine's Day morning?
Of course I did.
See, I pre-ordered my flowers a week ahead of time. I went down to the flower shop and I ordered them. They were ready when I got there. Oh,
nice. Or you could even be smarter and pre-plan and go to 1-800-Flowers.com or someplace like that and order years in advance and have them delivered. You know, the creepy thing about that, I know we're digressing. The creepy thing about that, because I thought about doing that. It's like, you know what? Why doesn't past Frederick look out for future Frederick and just one day sit down and order roses for the next 5 years and just be done with it? So they just show up, right? And then I was thinking, well, but what if something happens to me? And then for some reason I get hit by a bus or something, and then, you know, roses show up from the dead. That would not be good. That would not be good. So can't automate everything, it turns out. All right, man. Let's dive in before it gets too.
Let's do it.
Let's go in here. All right, I'm in TWiP Pro. Let's get us off screen here. Goodbye. All right. Tim Engle is up next, or is up first. Tim says, oops, natural light portrait of two models. It's always interesting to try and pose people that don't know each other prior to the shoot. I bet, man. Let's see. Wow. So these people didn't know each other. Nice shot.
Yeah, but they're models, so they know how to work together.
They know how to do that sort of pouty, angsty look automatically.
Right. Yeah. This is how all my engagement portraits look. No.
Awesome. What do you? That's awesome. Yeah. Well, that's or the as long as the wedding photos don't look like this. So what do you think? What do you think of this shot from a portraiture perspective?
I like the sedate look on their face. Obviously I love the lighting. I mean, we rarely ever have comments to Tim's lighting. I feel like the gentleman in the front, I feel like he's hunched a little bit more. I wish he was sitting up a little bit stronger, but that also could tell a different story. Like if this is a couple and they're not getting along and maybe he's not happy and she's like, over dominating. That's the kind of the story that I get from this. His sort of tense lips and her mouth is open and relaxed. The lips are part a little bit, like she's a little bit more comfortable. I dig it. Yeah. I think it's great. And I wish Oliver Head was in there, but I'm going to give him a pass because the lighting is so good.
Yeah, it is. It's Tim Engle's signature lighting. When I look at a shot like this, I think immediately those giant prints that they have in the entryway to like Abercrombie and Fitch stores. Oh yeah. This looks like this would be one of those giant prints that they put in there just as you enter the store. With the angsty hipster millennials in there staring at the camera, too cool for school. This definitely looks like that.
Yeah. That's not how it would look in real life, but
no, this is cool. Tim, if you're listening to this, which I know you are, I want to know some of the details behind this shot. Like, what did you use in the background to get it to go so dark? Is it just seamless black paper? Is it some special light absorbent Denny's manufacturing material? What do you got back there?
Probably just distance to background.
Yeah, I was gonna say, knowing Tim and his master of light, that might be a white background back there. He just he just knows how to make it go black. No, very cool. Thank you, Tim, for submitting that.
Yeah, of course, I love the black and white treatment. So.
I do. Yeah, the processing is fantastic. Is Tim using Capture One, or is he? I think Tim's a Lightroom guy still.
I don't know. We have to work on him.
That's so sad. You have to say still. Yeah, he's still using Lightroom. This next shot is from Jim Peters. Hey, Jim. He calls this one Light Showers in London. The sun finally broke through the clouds, so my last day of vacation in London was not totally dreary. Oh, look at that. But he decided to make it black and white anyway. So let's bring this up.
Wow, that fits into like a leading line category, doesn't it?
This, I don't know. Does it fit? I guess so. I mean, loosely, right? Because leading line. Why don't you explain to us what leading line is, Trey? What does leading line mean in photography?
Well, a leading line would be something that brings your eyes from one point of the image to another point, like a path or a light ray or something of that nature. So, there are leading lines to this. If you see like the building on the right, the lines follow to the center, and the light rays are leading up into that sort of the bright spot in the clouds. The buildings are kind of pointing up. So, really, it is kind of drawing you to the very center of that image, to that bright spot in that cloud. So, even the cranes in the background look like they're pointing there. So loose leading lines.
Loose leading lines, yeah. Because when I think of leading lines, I think of compositional elements that lead your eye down a path to a destination within the photo. Right. So like you're saying, in the case of this photo, it's the clouds and the sun rays coming through the clouds and the buildings and cranes, et cetera, are pointing to that. Sort of. So that's the idea. At least that's what I think when I think leading lines. It's like you're guiding me on rails, my eyeballs on rails to something, right?
Right. It's a loose translation in this image for sure. It's not as obvious as some of the others.
Okay. Yep.
Well done, though. I like it. It's very nice.
Yeah, and Jim, thank you for submitting too. All right. Next up is Trey Nelson. Trey says, Buffalo Trace Distillery. My wife brought me here the first time I visited Kentucky with her when we were still dating to meet her parents. This is part of the Bourbon Trail, or as I call it, Napa for bourbon whiskey lovers. Learned more than I thought I wanted to about the bourbon making process, and the tasting was great too. All right, let's see if this was taken before or after tasting. We can check the focus.
I'm going to say before or slightly during. Yeah, it's got good composition. So.
It is. Yeah, I'm curious to know what you think. Again, in the context of leading line on this photo. So there's two things. This is really interesting, and this is a good exercise, because when I'm looking at this photo, I'm thinking, or when I think leading lines, like I said before in the previous image, the lines are leading to a subject, but sometimes they don't need to be leading to a subject. Like they're leading you down a path somewhere, but there doesn't necessarily need to be a destination at the end of that path, but sometimes there does. What do you think about this one?
Well, yeah, I completely agree. This has amazing leading lines. I mean, the pathway, the hallway, the lights, the barrels on the left-hand side. Mm-hmm. It draws you right to that doorway at the very end. The only distracting element for me in this one is the right side of the image. You've got that post that says new lumber, mm-hmm. and then anything past that on the right, I think, is just distracting. So the leading line element is really, really strong. That element to me is distracting. If we were to trim off the right side and keep in the lumber, the center or the focus down the hallway would be even stronger. Mm-hmm. And then leading lines can be accentuated by dodging and burning. So, the brighter spot is at the end of the path, and maybe the darker spot is the beginning of the path that leads you down that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, this is good use of leading lines. This is great. Yeah,
I agree. I think it would be, I agree with you on the crop. If you crop that new lumber sort of pillar out of there, and you maybe even gone with a square crop, but that would have been a completely different image, I think. But yeah, definitely filled the criterion of leading lines, Trey. So thank you.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very cool.
Buffalo Trace Distillery. All right, moving on. Next one is from Laura Patton. Let's bring this one up. All right, she posted this one yesterday. Look at that. This is not a leading line shot, obviously. Not really. I mean, unless you look at the bull's legs as leading lines, right? It's kind of a stretch.
That would be a bit of a stretch.
They're kind of pointing to where the cowboy is going to land.
Yeah. I mean, this has some great compositional elements, though. I mean, there really isn't any strong leading lines in here, but there's lots of triangles. There's a bright spot, which is the bull in the center that really draws your eye right to the bull. Mm-hmm. Then there's a secondary hook, which is the guy off to the right. Like, he's made up of a bunch of triangles. His arms are out. So all those images, all those shapes, our brain just loves that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and great timing. I mean, I love the timing, and I'm really glad that the clown is in there on the left too, because they're really a big part of rodeo. So it's a neat story to tell to have him in there.
Yeah, really good shot though, man. Look at that. Talk about peak action.
I don't know how those guys do that. I mean, it'd be like somebody just smacking you with a bat every couple days.
You know what? I look at this, I think differently. I mean, you're a rider, a motorcycle rider. I look at this and I think, this is kind of like just constantly falling off your bike. You're just riding, and you know that this ride is going to end in a fall. Like when you're on a motorcycle, you try to avoid it and hope it doesn't end in a fall. These, you're going to fall. You and your body are going to be impacted by gravity one way or another. No, cool shot. I love that. Very good.
Great,
thank you,
good
Laura.
timing.
Laura's awesome. All right, Jeff Eason is next, and he says, shot a while back of a new Civic Center. He shot this with his Olympus E20 at f2.0, 13 millimeter ISO 80 at 6/40th of a second. Leading lines. Tell me what you think. Does this fit?
It fits. I think it definitely fits. I mean, you've got the cobblestones, you've got the lamps that are drawing us down there to the Civic Center. Mm-hmm. It's definitely doing that. The challenge with an image like this is that everything's sharp. The light is the same across the entire image, so it's hard to know exactly where to look, right?
Yeah.
Like I like the bright spot on the Civic Center building draws me there, and the leading lines push me there. I get that, so that's pretty cool. I mean, this is good. This is definitely good use of composition.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I like this, and I'm looking at what's the subject, and obviously, especially since he captioned this, we know the Civic Center is the subject, and all arrows are pointing to that subject.
Right, right. Yeah. I would have loved shallower depth of field in this one. I think would have been good. The leading lines would have been helped with that.
Yeah. Nice work though. All right, moving right along. Kandisha Valley is up next. Candy says, I like this one. I saw this one. Before sunrise on the deck of the cruise I went on last month. Look at her bragging. It was tough finding a spot to shoot out of the wind. So while all the other photographers were struggling to stand on the upper decks, I found a relatively calm spot on the lower decks. And nailed it. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, when she says all the other photographers, was this like a photography cruise, or were there just a bunch of other people with cameras?
I feel like it was a photography cruise. I want to say, Candy, let us know in the comments, because I remember her posting something about going on this before.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
We should do a land cruise where we get a bunch of photographers together and we'll go someplace local.
Yeah, land cruise because you don't like the water.
Oh no, I've done cruises before. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I've never done a cruise.
Small universe. I get bored really quick. Like I've been in every closet. I've opened every door. I've been.
You get claustrophobic. Yeah.
No, it's just I've seen it all.
Oh. Well, you could go swimming, right?
No.
I've never set foot on a cruise ship. Not because I don't want to. It's just I've never done it. So. Man, I know people that have been on like 12 and they're like, you never been on a cruise? And then every time I think about going on a cruise, to be honest with you, it seems like something weird happens. Like, what was it? Was it Carnival or one of them cruise lines? They had that crazy thing where all those people were stuck out in the middle of nowhere and the plumbing didn't work. So they were, relieving themselves on the deck and getting sick and all this stuff. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun to me. I don't know. I'd rather be if I'm going to do that, I'll just go stay in a hotel in Vegas,
Right, right. Yeah.
At least you can walk outside and go to the next cruise ship if you want to. But I don't know. One day.
Cruises aren't bad. They're pretty cool.
Yeah. One day I'll do that. All right. So.
The candy shot. Yeah.
Back to candy shot. What do you think?
I love it. I think it's a great. I love the leading line down the right-hand side, which makes me want to walk down there and kind of, enjoy the rest of the ship. But I like the fact that there's this dark element to the outside, right? The outside world is a little bit darker. There's even a little star going on in there, a little sunset. So the layers of color and the layers of light also really help a lot in this image with the leading lines, and everything points to that hallway. Even the skyline, it's darker on the left, it's a little brighter towards the right, leads us down that hallway. This is a perfect example of leading lines and drawing our eyes to a subject.
Love it. Here you go, Candy. Perfect example from Troy Miller. You don't use those words together that often. So that's pretty awesome there. Cool. All right, Candy, thank you very much for that. Next shot is from James Glennie. Hey, James. James says, from a trip to Paris a few years ago, the lady in the hat is my now wife. A bit of a cliche shot, but one of my favorites. It is cliche because I have a shot just like that.
We all have shots.
We all have this shot. It's from Paris. It's pretty dark in these stairwells and crowded, hence the high ISO, but I don't find the noise particularly distracting, even with the 24x36 print I have of it. Nice. Get going. Kind of gives me a shot on old film feeling. Let's bring this up. Yeah, I love that. It's that what is it? The Fibonacci spiral going on in there.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, that's really cool. Mm-hmm. And the leading lines work really well for this. It's when your eyes come in, you see the top left corner first. You kind of look around, you follow the stairs, and then you get to that lower right hand corner, and it's dark, and that makes your eyes come right back. Follow the stairs right back to her. It's great.
Yeah, you know what I thought you were gonna say? Can I channel?
Yeah.
Troy Miller. Those disembodied arms going down the steps.
I know. Well, he did make a mention that there's a lot of people in there and it's a public stairway. So
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now you could stand there and it wouldn't be hard if you took 3, 4, 5 frames very, very quickly in sequence, and then you could stack them later and probably remove 90% of those hands.
Yeah, but they're not a deal breaker though, right?
No, definitely not. And obviously his now wife being in the shot for him makes it much more personable. And so he doesn't see those things as distracting. We just look at them from a nitpicker's point of view. But
yeah. It becomes priceless at that point.
Yeah. And I love the fact you can't see her face. I love that mystery figure in there. I dig that. It's really neat.
Definitely a good example of leading lines. Hopefully the now spouse going down the downward spiral isn't an indication of marriage or anything.
Oh, you always.
Hope this is not a metaphor.
Oh man! And you say I'm dark.
That's dark. That's where my brain went. It's like Oh, this is cool. Sorry, James. I'm just kidding with you. All right. Next shot up is from Mike Doran. All right.
Is it Mike Doran?
I think it's Mike Doran, right?
Oh wow, I must be I'm out of order.
Yeah, reload. I got Mike Doran with his superbike. He says this image was created during the Red Bull Rookies Cup as part of the AMA Superbike Series in 2008. Camera used was the 1D Mark IV and the Canon 400mm 2.8L, courtesy our friends at Lens Rentals.
Very cool. And we got some good leading lines in there.
Yeah, I was wondering how he was going to handle it. I mean, it's from a motorsports perspective, leading lines are kind of built in, right? So,
right. Yeah. Ideally, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for leading lines in motorsports. Yeah. Oh, wow. Look at that. I'm just looking at the tires where they contact the ground and everything.
That is just that. Every time I look at that, it's just amazing to me. And as I do my continued research on bikes, I probably will have a motorcycle within the next, let's say, 12 to 24 months. But these KTM bikes, are you familiar with those? KTM?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is like some unpronounceable acronym for a Russian name, right, or something. But they're apparently very amazing and very expensive. Yeah. Very expensive. Like KTM bikes, like from what I've learned, a normal bike is, quote, normal, under 10 grand, probably in the 10 to 12 grand range for a really nice bike. These KTM ones, you're going to add another 10 grand on top of that to get this thing, right? Yeah.
Some of them are. Yeah, there's KTM makes a dirt bike that's really nice too. Yeah, they're very cool. So yeah, this is good use of leading lines. I love all the layers of color: blue, red, yellow, and then the blue and yellow lines, and then the black, and then the lines that he is on. Yeah, it's really great.
Yeah. Yep. Really cool. Thank you, Mike. Thanks for playing our little topical game too. All right. Freddy Sudah in the house. Freddy says, one way out, ISO 3200, f2.8, 1/50th of a second, 24mm on a Canon 6D, shot on Alcatraz as we made our escape. I've never been there. I
haven't either.
I've seen it a million times. I don't really have a huge draw to go visit a prison. I want to see it. I just don't want to. It's like
no.
I don't know.
No. The last time we were in San Francisco and we were going to go, it was very stormy. And I looked out at the water, and I'm like, I am not getting on a little boat to go over there for that. No.
You're pretty safe in the bay. I mean, there's only a couple shark in there.
They don't want me throwing up on everybody.
Yeah, no, we don't want that. Keep that in Southern California.
Yeah.
So leading lines on this one. This is definitely leading me somewhere, right? It's leading me down this corridor.
Yeah, this is really great. I love the blue that's going on, and then the warm tones on the right. It's very abstract in nature. I like the fact that Freddy did a great job keeping that center point where the lines converge on the lower third instead of just like dead center. I think that's a fantastic use of composition. It is tilted a little bit to the right, so I know Freddy can fix that. But I dig it. Yeah, this is great. And it's perfect in color. I know somebody's thinking that I'm going to say black and white, but I'm not.
No, it's got to be color because you got to have the warmth of the cells and the coolness of those lights above head.
Yep. Nice contrast. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yep. Very cool. Hotel California right there. All right. Next up is Bradley Ellis. Bradley, have we had an image from Bradley Ellis before? I think this might be new.
Yeah, he's a new member, so it's quite possible.
Welcome, Bradley. So Bradley says, spent the morning at the San Diego Zoo at the Reptile House, experimented with LED lighting techniques that don't disturb the reptiles. A flash, even if diffused, seems to be pretty jarring to certain species. This guy didn't seem too bothered. Let's bring up this guy. Look at him, giving the side eye. That's a side eye if I ever saw one. That's that what you talking about Willis look right there.
He's like, I make this look good.
Exactly. I love this. I love the shot. I know you have certain feelings about zoos, right? And
yeah. I mean, for some of the bigger animals, for snakes and reptiles and stuff, I think it's different. They live in a smaller world.
Mm-hmm. You just don't like to see the sad primates and elephants,
and cats, and
big cats in there just pacing back and forth. Yeah. But for shots like this, for reptiles and that ilk of animal, zoos are great for this because you can get these kind of. No one knows that you weren't in the middle of the African bush and you took the shot. And, you'd never know if you compose it right.
Right. No, I mean, this is a really great shot. I love the use of shallow depth of field. His eye is sharp, right to his nose is sharp, just to the left, camera left of his eye is starting to fall out of focus. I think this is really, really great. A little dodging and burning in this, I think, could help a lot so that, the eye should be the brighter spot and then sort of vignette by hand, not just create a circle, but like dodge down the neck and maybe the background a little bit just to bring some more focus on the eye. Yeah. But I like it. I think it's great. Yeah,
do you think it fits in with our leading line theme?
It doesn't. But as you said in the beginning, you didn't make it clear.
I did not.
So
I own that.
It's not Bradley's fault.
I own that. No, it is not. It is not. I will make that adjustment. So going forward, everyone knows.
Yeah. But a great shot nonetheless.
All right. Yeah, Bradley, thank you for submitting that. Okay, moving right along. Next up is Howard Yermish. And Howard says, so many wavy lines. This one from a trip to Kanab, Utah, for some canyons. I call it Ancient Ladder on the Windblown Walls. Let's bring up the Ancient Ladder on the Windblown Walls.
Yeah, Kanab's a cool place if you ever get a chance to go out there. It's a neat area.
Yeah. I need to get out there. I mean, I've seen all kinds of shots. I have tons of friends that have been out there, have done light painting and models, and Craig's out there putting, naked women on these rocks. And
let's go. Let's do it. Set it up.
And I've yet to go out here. I need to go here. I need to get on a cruise. There's so much to do. I need to get to Australia and try to survive the box jellies, all that stuff.
And the blue-ringed octopus.
Blue-ringed octopus. Yeah. For those that know what we're talking about, those topics came up in our last TWiP Pro member mixer. We were talking about, how to not become a Happy Meal in Australia. Yeah. So leading lines, though, what do you think?
Yeah, it's the leading lines in here are really subtle. You've got all those horizontal striations. You definitely have the light that is leading us, through this opening and things like that. I think that if you know this spot, the ancient ladder holes that lead up into there, that's the leading line. If you don't know what those are, maybe it's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
But I think that it fits. Yeah, I think it fits. And it's a great shot. And this is a tough place to shoot with all that.
Yeah. Well, say that again. You muted for a second.
Oh, this is just a tough location to shoot with all that dynamic range.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the dynamic range.
Yeah.
And you say you have been out here? You've shot?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Hey, see? TWiP Workshop. TWiP Workshop right there.
I'm not going in there, just by the way.
Why not?
I'm not climbing in no hole.
Truly.
No, I will climb a 100-foot tree by hand and hang from the branches and take pictures. I am not climbing down in a hole.
I love that. You see that? I'm still getting calibrated to your tolerances for danger. Because you will explode. You'll make micronuclear explosions in the desert and photograph them, but you won't go in a cave that's been there for thousands and thousands of years.
No. And it's not a choice. It's my brain says, no, you're not going in there. And I don't have a choice.
I'm guessing we're probably never going to see you skydiving at any point, right?
Nope.
Or bungee jumping or anything like that.
No.
I want to live.
Doesn't work. My body won't do it.
It was hard. I'll tell you my skydiving story one day. It's hard overcoming that your body's knee-jerk reaction to stay alive. Eric Joseph is up next. Eric Joseph says, a few wet lines in Troy's favorite lack of color. Smiley. They know you, man. Some Fuji Acros goodness at Red Mill Museum in Clinton, New Jersey during a local photo walk that he held this morning. Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah. Very nice.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. See, look at that line. Look at those lines are pointing to that house. Yep.
And what's really wonderful about this in black and white is that barn is so red that you would almost not even see those lines anymore. You know, you wouldn't see the foreground because it really stands out. So this is a good use of the graphical elements in the frame, and using those leading lines and sort of parallels, or not parallels, but in conjunction with all the little squares on the barn. And this is a perfect use of leading line. This is great. It makes us look right at that barn whether we want to or not.
It's like right down the center. You have no choice. It's like magnetic.
Yep. That's how powerful leading lines can be in your images. It just really draws your brain right to where you want them to look.
And these compositional elements are a lot like what film editors use, some of the tricks that they use to sort of keep the story moving, to move things around the frame, lighting to get you to look over there, and the sound to get you to, these little techniques that film editors use that we don't, for the most part, have the benefit of using in a single still frame, but compositional elements like leading line and those sorts of things we do have that we can control. And I think part of it is that's what separates professionals from amateurs, or beginners, is that you understand these kinds of concepts, because a professional would do a composition like this where an amateur may do it, but not do it, on purpose. So,
Right. And there's all these, and it's funny you bring that up, because I've been thinking about writing an article about this. We talk about leading lines and composition and the psychographics of an image and intentional, color and shapes and how our brains react to light and path. And the thing is these aren't just like opinions of the community. Like, there's science behind how our brains look at an image, and painters knew this well. Like your brain doesn't like to see bright colors like reds and yellows for too long or too big in an image. Like our brains like softer tones and warm tones and earth tones. We can look at those for a long time. So there's a lot of science behind that, but how to put that into a way that new photographers can come to understand that it's not just these arbitrary laws or these arbitrary rules that somebody placed on them.
Yeah.
Right. There's science behind how your brain sees stuff. And if you can encompass that, your images immediately can become much more significant.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah. It's give yourself an unfair advantage by just leveraging the programming that we all have,
Right.
I mean, it's a couple of lines of code in the simulation anyway, but might as well use it. As long as you know the code is there, you might as well use it. Right?
Yeah, just a copper top.
Yeah, there you go. Michael Rhino's up next. Michael Rhino says, the leading line for this photo is the Virgin River in Zion National Park, which leads the eye to late evening sun, catching the peaks in the background. He shot this with his Nikon D850 with a 24 to 120 millimeter lens, racked to 40 millimeter f11 ISO 64 at 1/4 of a second. Let's bring this up. Yeah, that's leading line right there.
Oh, yeah. I know that spot well. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, there's a bridge right there.
Oh, he's on the bridge?
He's on the bridge. There's a good chance he's there with like 40 other photographers if it's a busy day. He's on the right side of the bridge. So, you know, it's a very popular spot to be. And it is amazing, though. It is absolutely amazing to see, because off to the right, it's perfect. There's this giant canyon wall that blocks the sun, and then it opens up. And then that mountain back there, it just comes out and it's lit as the sun sets, and the light scrapes across the atmosphere, and it's spectacular. It's really kind of cool.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I dig it. Compositionally speaking, my only nit, you know, since this is a nitpicking show, is it me, or is it rotated slightly to the right?
It feels like it could be,
or is that just the way that it is? You know, I can't tell. In either case, it just feels like it should be just a couple of ticks rotated to the left a little bit.
Well, you know, that's a good point, because even if technically it's not, if it feels that way, then you can correct that, right? Mm-hmm. So that it gives the image the proper feel.
Right. Yeah, even if the horizon line in your camera says, no, this is level, but the people looking at it say, no, it's not really level, you should, you know, cheat and compensate for that.
Yeah. No, this is perfect leading line. Yeah, this is really great. This is a really good image. Although I like the sunset color on the rocks, I always shoot this in black and white.
I was waiting for it. I knew you couldn't resist it. I knew it.
No, it's just very, very old school landscapey thing for me is, you know, Ansel Adams and that type of imagery. And I just love the black and white nature of what it gives to landscapes. So I'm not saying convert this to black and white. I'm just saying when I shoot this, I always shoot it in black and white. And then the last time I was there, I shot it in infrared, and it was spectacular. So
very cool. I like it.
Yeah. Good job, Michael. That's a great shot of that location.
Mm-hmm. Michael Rhino, crushing it.
And it's been shot a lot, so it's hard to get a good, unique shot because it's been photographed so many times.
Mm-hmm. All right, next up is Thomas Aaron. I'm not sure if this is leading lines, maybe. He says, he says it's full of lovely leading lines. He says, Dream Dog, he shot this with his iPhone XS with Lightroom CC Mobile. Nice. Full of lovely leading lines, fortuitous framing, and geometric jolliness. I enjoy this exercise, and using $10 words where a nickel word will do. Great idea.
Oh, that is great. That is a lot of fun. Yeah, you know, there is some leading lines in there. It doesn't really.
The dog itself. I mean, if the subject is the dog's face or his head up there, then his body and chest are sort of leading up there, as is the pad he's laying on, right?
Yeah. There's no solid subject in here. It's all dog. Mm-hmm. But there's definitely a lot of fortuitous framing and geometric jolliness going on in here.
I love it. That's cool. You should get extra points for a good caption.
I want him to title my image competition images. That's great.
Yeah. We should do one of the upcoming critiques. We should say the captions must have alliteration in them, no matter what. All right. Next up is Craig Stamfley. Craig says, "Not my drone." Let's bring this up. Look at that. So he said he didn't shoot this with his drone. Yeah, the comment I put in there was like, yeah, flying a drone in the middle of these power lines, that's a recipe for a disaster. Not so much you're going to hit the power lines, but you might. But the radio interference that comes off of those power lines that interferes with the connection to the controller on the ground. It's just like, you know, that's a recipe for sending this thing off either into the power lines or at least never to be found again in those trees down below.
Right. Not only that, I think when I say in the U.S., because I know he's in Australia, but I think in the U.S. all the power lines are owned. That space is owned by the power company, like Edison and stuff, just like the railroads are owned by the railroads. So I don't even think you're allowed to. That's like trespassing. You're not even allowed to be near there. You could get big time trouble for that.
Yeah, but I wonder, like, do they own this airspace? Like where the drone is hovering right now, they own that airspace? Or do they own the ground where the towers are mounted, you know?
I mean, I got a buddy that works for Edison, and maybe he was just like cautioning me to stay away. But he's like, if you get within like so many feet of those, you can be arrested by the, you know, by the patrol for Edison or whatever. And I'm like, really?
Sense.
He goes, yeah, just like a railroad. I could be totally wrong, so he could just be making stuff up.
Yeah, I mean, it does make sense, because if you inadvertently, you know, damage one of these things and cause power outages down the line to a hospital or somebody that needs, right at that critical moment, because you needed to fly your drone, and now Uncle Johnny, you know, they lost power three-quarters of the way through his open heart surgery. You know,
that's awful.
That's awful. See how dark my brain is on Mondays?
I know. Well, the thing is, what worries me is the hospitals have backup generators, but what about like somebody doing a podcast? They probably don't have a backup generator.
Oh, yeah.
So they're going to lose power. It's going to go down.
Ye of little faith. I do have backup here. I do have backup. Not only do I have backup power, I could easily switch over to LTE if I needed to. Right now I'm on Wi-Fi, but I could do the show from over LTE if I needed to.
Wow.
Hey, man.
Survivalist.
This is ex-military, you know, ex-Boy Scout. Be prepared. Remember that? Yeah.
Well, Craig, I love your image. It's a fantastic leading line example. You have the lines from the power lines. You have the road that leads off in the distance. I think it's awesome, and you get bonus points for insanity for flying your drone up there.
Yeah. Yeah, bonus points and, you know, bonus kahunas points. Maybe we'll send him one of those kangaroo pouches.
Yeah, he said it's not my drone, so I'm wondering if you know, like he's flying somebody else's drone.
He's flying someone else's drone. Yeah, he is. Yep, I was teasing Tim Engle in TWiP Pro because he borrowed mine, and then I don't know if he crashed it or something happened to it that he had to get it fixed. So I was giving him crap. But
no!
He got it fixed and gave it back to me, you know, which was awesome. But I was giving him crap because you never want to hear that your baby has crashed, right? And this was an old. Well, it wasn't old at the time. This is a Phantom 4. So.
Oh yeah.
Pre-Mavic days and pre-object avoidance technology days. So very cool. All right, Craig Stanfley, thank you for that. Moving right along, Michael DeRay is up next. If I can get this to come up. Michael says, leading lines that unfortunately lead nowhere. Such is life. Pier in Venice, Florida, taken about an hour after sunset with Olympus EM10 Lumix 14 to 45 millimeter lens at 16 millimeter, which is a 32 millimeter equivalent on a full frame. He shot it at f9 ISO 200, and this was 9 40-second exposures for a total of 6 minutes using live composition. Oh, that's at Olympus mode, live composition. Have you heard of that mode on Olympus cameras, Trey?
Mm-mm.
So live, you know, you've done long exposures, right? Where you can, you know, you drag the shutter on water so you can make it flow and all that. Well, Olympus cameras, I'm not sure all of them, but clearly this one have this live composition mode, I believe, where you can open the shutter and actually see the image draw on the LCD and then stop it at a particular time. So you can see the water getting blurrier and blurrier and smokier, and you're like, yep, that's it. And then you in the exposure versus taking a shot and then saying, nope, I need it to be more blurry, and taking another shot, on and on and on.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Now, Sony has they don't have it on the Mark IIIs now, but on the Mark IIs and earlier, they had a smooth reflections where it would take so many images and stack them together and make a long exposure, which was fantastic, which is one of my beefs. Like, why don't our cameras have better software, you know, for doing cool stuff? So it's neat that Olympus does that.
Yeah, they will. It's just going to take one of them to innovate and say, hey, this is the new whatever camera, and introducing the App Store for this camera.
Or somebody needs a hack. Just, you know, we need to jailbreak the cameras and load some cool software.
Yeah.
So, Michael, I love your image. I really like this. Piers are always a nice draw. I like that you put the horizon line, you know, not through the pier itself, which is sometimes easy to do. And I like how the lines lead us down that road. I would burn down the foreground, though. I want to see the bench. I love the bench. I just think that it's too bright there. It distracts us from the end of the pier, which I think is really where the story's at, is in the skyline. So good use of leading lines, though. Fantastic.
Yep. Yep. This is what it's all about right here. This is lead lines for sure. All right. Michael DeRay, thank you, sir. Okay, we're almost through all these. There's a couple more. Peter Levshin, I've heard of that guy.
Oh, the tree. Oh, yeah.
this is Peter shot this with his Sony A7R Mark II infrared at 10 millimeter. A tree in the sand, morning sun, very cold day. Let's bring this up.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I remember this day. Peter took a walk and we couldn't find him.
Oh, really? How do you get lost out here? There doesn't seem much to hide behind out there.
Yeah, this is in it's coral pink sand dunes in just outside of Kanab or outside of Zion. Oh. And it's you know what, this tree does not look far away at all. And then all of a sudden you start walking and you keep walking and you keep walking and you keep walking. Yeah.
It's like you're on a conveyor belt kind of trying to get to it.
And you're walking through sand. Oh, so right. It's just, yeah, it's awful. It's awful to get to. But you know, what Peter did with this is he used those shadows, which
as
are
the lines.
Really,
yeah.
And
the horizon. They're all pointing to the tree. So
Yep. Good use of lines. I'm pretty sure he didn't have that in mind. He's an accidental photographer. So.
No, I mean Peter's an amazing photographer.
I know, because he's my friend. I can say that about him.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. No, I like this one. Yeah, I like the fact that like you said, the shadows are leading to the tree, the horizon leading to the tree, even the dune to the right of the tree in the, you know, sort of midway through the image is sloping down, is pointing upward to the tree. So yeah, it's a very cool shot. Very cool shot. And this was infrared. The only thing when I'm looking at this, I don't know if it's a function of my display, but it just feels a little bit dark to me. Is that me?
No, I think it is a little bit dark. I think we need to bring the exposure up to the point to where the sand is right, just about to blow out. You know, just below that, because it's a reflection. It should be nice and bright. Yeah. And then bring the shadows down. Yeah, a little more contrast.
Yeah.
Go fix that, Peter. I'll be in on Friday, so I'll make sure you did it right.
There you go. We'll be checking in the member mixer, so bring this image with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I want to see this corrected in the member mixer. All right, who's next? Thank you, Peter, for that. Esteban Gill is next. Esteban says, "You get a line, and you get a line, and you get a line, Oprah." This wedding in Hartford, Connecticut that I just handed in, or this is a wedding in Hartford, Connecticut that I just handed in, went with a black and white edit because of the light coming from the big window. Let's bring this up. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, I really want to hear your thoughts on this shot. This is right up your alley, man.
Yeah, this is gorgeous. This is competition worthy. This is very high-end wedding stuff. This is beautiful. This is really, really nice. Good use of those leading lines. Good placement of the couple. And I don't know if he added light on them or if there was light coming in there. Either way, this is fantastic. I wish that the lower left corner where the mats and the handrails burn that down, even darker, because I think it's distracting from the couple, because it's so close to the couple. But for the most part, this is really quite exquisite.
Yeah, I agree. Nice. Yeah, you got an exquisite. Look at that, Esteban.
This is good. Yeah,
exquisite from a fellow wedding shooter. Very cool.
Yeah, this is a shot that other wedding photographers can look at and go, "Oh, I wish I had a place like that to shoot at."
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, this is good.
Very cool. Awesome.
Good job, Esteban.
All right, moving right along. Next one is Stephen Scharf. Steven says, "The Black Tower. For the leading lines photo critique submission, Fujifilm GFX50S and 32 to 64 millimeter f4 processed and converted to black and white in Capture One."
Yay.
I hear that Capture One thing's catching on.
Yeah, it's not bad. You should try it out.
I heard a rumor. Nice.
This is good.
This is leading lines. Steven's amazing. He knows it. I love it. That's why I'm looking forward to these topical challenges, because people like Steven, they break out of things that they normally submit. Right.
Right.
You know, and then they show that they actually do have range and can shoot a variety of subjects. And this is an example of that with Steven. And, he just threw the words leading lines at him and he came back with this. So,
yeah. Yeah. And I like the title, Black Tower. So like in competition, that's really important, because most of the time, you might look at this and you might see that little tower back there and be like, oh, okay, leading lines, the sky is barren. I wish there were some clouds in the sky or whatever. But because it's titled the Black Tower, it really makes me focus on that tower in the distance. And I really like that. I think that's a really good storytelling element.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is good use of leading lines.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the geometry in this.
I think we could crop up the bottom and crop out the trash cans, and then make it horizontal. And then that would put the Black Tower on the lower right corner. I kind of like that crop. That might be a better. But
you'd
crop.
lose those railings on the right side if you did that, right?
That's okay, because you have the
trellis on the top. Yeah. Cool. All right, Stephen Scharf showing us your range.
Yes. Monochromatic exquisiteness.
There you go. All right. Next shot up is from Gras Dirt. Let's see what he says. Leading lines, Union Pacific by the Salton Sea. I spotted this train parked on the tracks near the Salton Sea. I stopped for some ad hoc light painting. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's really cool. That is really very cool. I like the light painting. That's done very well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I asked him in TWiP Pro what did he use to paint with, and he said just a flashlight or something he had in the glove box. He went and grabbed it.
Yeah. There's a guy. His name is Eric Curry. I don't know if he's still current, but he's like the master of light painting. You got to look up some of his stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But this is a perfect use of leading line. I mean, this is great.
Yeah, I love the symmetry of the shot, because that really adds to the strength and the sort of imposing nature of this Union Pacific train on these steel girders that are themselves lying on rocks, with this nice cloudy sky, with this thing just lit like that. So it just looks imposing, and you're forced to look at this monolithic train that's right in front of you. So very cool.
Right. And good use of long exposure too, to get the clouds to blur a little bit, and that was probably just the time it took him to do some painting. So, I do feel compelled to mention that railroad tracks are very dangerous, and it's illegal to be on them. The railroad owns them, and the railroad police, and I'm not making up. You can be arrested for being on the tracks,
trespassing.
And photographers die all the time being on railroad tracks. They're just like a magnet. And, so if you're going to be there like mega cautious. Be super careful, especially on commuter tracks.
Yeah, right.
The commuter tracks, you can't hear the train. So we have an area out here called Cajon, the Cajon Pass, which is very famous for train spotters, that it loops over itself. So it's really amazing, the photograph in there. But there's a commuter train that comes through there on a track, and you cannot hear that train.
Really?
And they can't stop. There's no way they'll stop by the time they see you. So just be really careful on the tracks.
It's a lot of mass moving very fast, right? So
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times, if you find an engine parked and there's an engineer in there, you can go talk to them. They'll let you photograph. Like, they're super into it.
Yeah.
But just be very cautious. I would hate for anybody to get hurt.
That's good to know. I mean, it's good to know, because I never would have thought. I know you mentioned this before, but I never would have thought that railroad tracks were off limits to the level of being illegal to trespass on them. I thought it'd be
private
like,
property.
Hey, get off of those tracks. I didn't know it would be like, put your hands up. You have the right to remain silent kind of action there.
Yeah, they can arrest you. Yeah. So plus it's just dangerous. Just be careful on the tracks. They're just like standing in the middle of the road doing an exposure with the the center line disappearing somewhere. It's just a dangerous place to be. It's sort of a magnet for photographers. We just love those lines.
Yeah. Yeah. What's not to love? I mean, it's straight lines going all the way to the horizon, and this is a perfect compositional element, especially if someone on a community tells you that you need to submit something with a leading lines topic.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, go on.
Yeah. But, you know, I want to take one more comment to Kai's image is that if you go back and look at Kai's work, he has a very simple and clean, minimalistic approach to his images. And I think that that's a very powerful thing to look at and emulate if you can, because the less that there is there to confuse you or the less there is to distract you, the more that the story tells.
I was trying to distract you with that subscribe button while you were saying that.
I saw that.
I did that on purpose to distract you while you were saying that.
Does that mean I'm talking to it? I'm sorry.
No, that's really cool. No, this is cool. See, this is why I love doing these. These are so much fun. All right, Kai, thank you. And Kai, thank you for coming to the TWiP Pro member mixers. It's always good to see you in there. All right, moving right along. Joshua Sommerfeld is up next. I think this is the last one, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Joshua Sommerfeld. Joshua, you're closing us down. He says, Green Mamba about to change clothes, shot with his Canon EOS 77D with a Tamron 90mm lens at f2.8 or with an f2.8 macro. He had it at 90mm at f8 for 3.2 seconds at ISO 100. Wow, 3 seconds to get this snake. This snake was just chilling then. Let's bring this up.
Wow.
Wow, I think I know what you're going to say. Yeah.
You too. Okay.
I do. I know you, man. I know you know.
Go for it.
You're going to say, and don't change it if I'm wrong. You're not going to say black and white, I don't think. You might. You might say black and white. Or infrared, because who knows what the snake's skin would look like in infrared.
Oh, that's true.
But you're going to say you want a closer crop, closer to the face of the snake.
Pretty close. I was going to say, because I don't want to crop the snake's body necessarily, I was going to say some dodging and burning to bring more focus to the snake. I mean, there's a little bit of it going on already, but a little bit more couldn't hurt. Bringing the shadows down, create a little bit more contrast. But the leading line element in here is really great, and it's a very creative. You could actually crop it in. Wow, you really could, couldn't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the shot I see is just like crop some of the snake out, because we know what the snake's body looks like.
Yeah, it's almost square. Like if you cropped it square. Yeah. True. I didn't. I wasn't going to say crop out the snake, but now that you mentioned that, I'm holding up my hand and I'm like, yes.
Yeah, because I want to see 3 lines of snake body with the head popping out in the middle.
Yeah, and then make it black and white.
And then make it black, of course. What else is there? Come on.
Add green. Make it black and white and add green.
Add green. There we go. Instant art. Very cool.
Great shot, Joshua. Good use of lines. Yeah.
Yep. You played within the rules. All right, so we got to close this down. But the big change is you and I have to pick one. Right? We have to pick.
I already have my favorite.
You have your favorite already?
Yeah.
What is your favorite?
Esteban's.
Esteban's. I went with Kai.
Oh,
the train.
The
train. I mean, because Esteban's was nice. You picked Esteban's because that's in your wheelhouse. But and the leading lines are fantastic. I'm not discounting that. But the impact and the symmetry and the lines of that train shot are just says leading lines all day long. So.
You're right. No, you're right. Yeah. I was attracted. I was overly influenced by the wedding and the black and white.
Yeah.
That was
exactly. Shiny object.
Yeah. No, you're right. Kai's is quite amazing, and this is an image that would look good, really, really big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm gonna bring that one up again just so you know what I'm talking about. Where is it? There it is. All right, let's bring this up full screen so we could say congratulations to that shot.
I agree. Yeah.
Look at that. That says leading lines all day long, man.
Yeah. 2 enthusiastic thumbs up.
There you go. We have our first topical winner. Right?
Yay!
There we go. Very cool, man. All right. Well, I went through And let me see if I can find it here. Because I use a service called Asana to manage everything. Did you see I added in, you're a member of this project, I added in topics for the next several weeks in there.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. I did my homework. There's a list in that event. So we did leading lines. The next one, well, you picked leading lines. I'm picking the next one, which is going to be mood or emotion. Ooh. Mood or emotion. That's for February 25th. Mood.
And you're going to make sure you let everybody know, right?
I will. In fact, I'm doing that tonight. I'm going to make sure that I get all that stuff written out. But yeah, mood or emotion is that one. And if you want a sneak peek and get some homework done for the March 4th show, which is 2 weeks from today, that topic is going to be portraits. Portraits.
Ooh.
Portraits. Fun, tough. Do you see the list I put in there now?
Yeah.
Yeah, so good times. And then, of course, what I'll do is in that project, Troy, I'll add in the winners so that when we go back and do our roll-up, we can just go back and refer to the individual posts. And I'll even drag and drop their image in there, too, so we know which one we picked.
Yay!
Look at that.
Organized. Love to be organized.
I have to be organized because otherwise it's chaos-driven entropy.
Right.
which was kind of redundant, but yeah, that's the way my world goes. If it's not organized, stuff just falls apart, and then I get depressed, and it falls more apart. So, well, cool. That's it for this episode, man. This is episode number 55.
55.
I can't drive 55. Cool. All right. Like I said, next up is, what did I say, Troy? Mood or emotion?
Mood or emotion. I put on my notepad.
Yeah, mood or emotion for the next one. And good luck, everyone. I want to see some mood or emotion. I want to see mood and make it good. I don't want to see okay, here's a shot of a flower that makes me sad. I want to see.
Wait. What if it's on fire?
Here's a rock that can't move, so it makes me sad. That's what I want to see real emotion. So. What if it's on fire? Is that what you said?
Yeah. What if I lit like a set of roses on fire? And the love note is burning and
done. That's okay. That could go in there. That could go in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So this one should be interesting. So, folks, if you want to be considered to be a winner of one of these photo critiques, you must submit within the category that we're mentioning. And next week, for the next couple, I'm going to be relatively lenient on, if there's images that are submitted that don't, follow what the topic is for that episode, we're still going to critique them like we did today, but you won't be eligible to be put in the winning for this thing that we're putting together. So please submit along the topic lines, but don't let that stop you from submitting right now. So,
and what did the winners get? Did we decide?
We decided that at the end, we haven't decided what we want to do a quarterly prize. So a roll up at the end of the quarter. This one is going to be a short quarter because, we have like a month and a half left. But at the end of each month, the winner is going to get a gift card of some sort. So, either iTunes or Amazon or something like that. Very easy.
Perfect.
Something digital that I don't have to ship.
You don't have to ship. Yeah.
Something that I don't have to go to the UPS store to ship out.
I thought, when I'm at WPPI, I'm going to get all this swag and stuff, and we can make those gifts. And then I'm like, well, what if Craig wins? I have to ship it to Australia.
Exactly. Yeah. We got members in Australia. We got members in Canada. We got members in the UK and Brazil. South America, all over the place. Yeah, so
need digital.
The digital's better.
Digital gifts,
but even then, I sent someone what was it? A book. I think it was either an Audible book. It was an Audible book because Amazon bought Audible. But I sent them a book and they couldn't read it. I think they were in London or something, but they couldn't read the book because of licensing, and it only works in the U.S. and all this crap. I'm like, come on, it's one little dirt ball of a planet. Can't we just exchange stuff freely? Please, can we get through that? But we'll work it out regardless. You'll get something. And then at the end of the quarter, the winners of each one of those contests that happen over that particular quarter, the 12 winners, we'll look at those and apply your judging methodology from IUPPV to them and pick the winner that will get something bigger. The bigger thing, the reason we're being cagey about that bigger thing is because it is likely going to be something provided by one of the sponsors, one or more of This Week in Photo sponsors, and that could be Capture One, that could be Creative Live, that could be Emerald Expo, who runs WPPI and several other conferences. It could be Data Color, who does the Spider, this thing right here that I'm going to play with today, the Spider X. So it could be any one of those companies or a bundle. So we're still working that out. Once I get it worked out, then that'll be the cadence for every quarter, as we go forward. But as you can see, I mean, from when we started these, you remember, Troy, when we were back on Slack, the community was on Slack.
Yeah.
And we just started doing these, and I was downloading the images and sending them over to you, and you'd open them up and preview, and then we step through them together. It's so much smoother now. We're like a real organization. I love it.
Yeah, we're getting there. Except my lighting and my mess now is I rearranged my desk, so that's why it's.
Oh no, it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look.
This is hack lighting right now, so it'll be better next time.
Yeah. Well, mine hopefully too. There's some new lights we were talking about before we started recording. I have my eyes on some new lights that I want to get. Maybe they'll be at WPPI. I need to check the vendor list to see if.
Yeah.
We're talking to photographers. I can tell them who the lights are. So these are lights from a company called Elgato. And they're called key lights, and they're made specifically for people that do this kind of stuff, content creators and gamers and people that do online media. And they're actually pretty cool. So check them out. Key light from Elgato. I think they're at elgato.com. And that's hopefully, if I can swing it, those will be lighting me within the next month or so. So they're not cheap, so I may have to build this thing over time. But
Right.
yeah. Well, cool, man. All right. Any parting thoughts before we end this?
No. I'm very excited to see the image competitions coming into fruition, the critiques growing, and nothing new. Just keep it going.
Keep it going.
Keep submitting those images.
There you go. Yeah, keep chatting in the community and interacting and all that. The community is really good. I love the vibrancy in the comments.
Oh yeah.
The cadence is really good of people interacting with each other and sharing images, and it's brings a tear to my eye.
Your baby.
It's my baby. It's my baby. All right, man. I will see you next time. Thanks a lot, Troy Miller.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Take care. This is TWiP.